Arizona Diamondbacks Sunday Baseball is presented by Sanderson Ford. We're inside Chase Field for the finale of this three-game series. And it's a matchup of left-handers today. Adam Conley for the Marlins and Robbie Ray for the D-backs. A chance to win the series on Fox Sports Arizona. Good afternoon from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume and Bob Brenly along the way. The third and decisive game of this three-game set with Miami. And Bob, another start in the 9-hole for Michael Bourn, who had the big hit to ignite a D-backs comeback last night.
Yeah, Michael Bourn was one of those low-risk, possibly high-reward claims that the Diamondbacks made, and little did we know with Chris Owings going on the disabled list that Michael Bourn was going to play such an important role with the ball club. He's stolen bases, he played great defense in the outfield, and the bat's really starting to come alive lately.
And another start for Michael in center field. The rookie Peter O'Brien gets the start in left field. Robbie Ray and Adam Conley, the Diamondbacks and the Marlins. The rubber game of this three-game set is next on Fox Sports Arizona. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. By Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Double Jack Burger today, only at Jack in the Box. By Oregano. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run at Oregano's, your neighborhood pizza joint, location statewide. By Jack Link's Beef Jerky, wishing you a wild and happy National Jerky Day. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you get more standard features for less money. Backs and the Marlins, but first we turn it over to the voice of Chase Field, Mr. Chuck Drago.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise and please remove your hats. Ladies and gentlemen, we awoke this morning to the news of a horrific event that took place in Orlando, Florida in the early morning hours of last night. At this time, as a tribute to all those who lost their lives and for their families and friends who are suffering right now, the Miami Marlins and Arizona Diamondbacks ask that you join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the field as we honor the United States of America and pay tribute to our veterans, active duty, and retired men and women of our armed services. Presenting our colors today, please welcome members of the El Zariba Shrine Color Guard. The Arizona Diamondbacks and the Miami Marlins invite you to join in the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner, performed by members of the El Zariba Shrine.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
On Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Lone Butte Casino. Get in on big wins. By Papa Murphy's, love at 425 degrees. By Mattress Firm, save money, sleep happy. By Yancey's Fancy, New York's finest artisan cheese. And by Gigablast, 100 times more powerful internet from Cox. Bring on tomorrow. Welcome to downtown Phoenix, Arizona. We are inside Chase Field. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly, J.R. Cardenas along the way. A very comfortable 80 degrees inside. The decisive game of this three-game set against Don Mattingly and his Miami Marlins.
And Don Mattingly has finally come to his senses and put a catcher in the leadoff spot once again.
Time.
JT Realmuto leading it off and doing the catching. Martin Prado at third base. Christian Yelich out in left field. Marcelo Zuna in center with Giancarlo Stanton in right. Chris Johnson at first base, Derek Dietrich at second base, Miguel Rojas at shortstop today, and Adam Conley, the left-hander, on the mound.
Your Arizona Ford starter for the Diamondbacks, Robbie Ray, 24-year-old left-hander, 2 wins in 12 starts, a 5.14 ERA, and he lasted just 4 1/3 his previous timeout last Monday against Tampa Bay.
Now, Robbie tied for 5th in the National League in no decisions. Adam Conley, the starter for the Marlins today, with 6 no decisions. He's tied for 3rd in the National League.
Angel Hernandez is our plate umpire this afternoon. He will have the balls and the strikes. JT Realmuto, the catcher, will lead it off, as well he should. There's strike 1. Realmuto, 305 and 3 homers. His home run last night, his only hit of the series. Robbie Ray ahead, no balls and 2 strikes.
With Realmuto leading off for the Marlins, they're 5-1 this year.
What are you saying?
Can't get enough catchers in any lineup.
Well, Realmuto in the leadoff spot today, but he's not hitting left-hand pitching at all this year. Just over 170 versus lefties. He's got backward platoon splits for a right-hand hitter. Realmuto has most often this year hit 7th in the lineup for Don Mattingly, which is where he was last night when he homered against Zach Godley with 2 outs in the 4th. Missed away with a fastball, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes from Robbie Ray.
Always something to keep an eye on with Robbie Ray. Gets to 2 strikes and then ends up throwing a lot more pitches than needed to get guys out. I'd like to see him be more aggressive in those 2 strike counts. Here we go.
He did not go. Will Little, our first base umpire, and he's gone to a full count on the leadoff man. Struck him out. 1 down for Robbie Ray. Our eye on defense for the D-backs is brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Brandon Drury getting a start at third base today. Nick Ahmed next to him at shortstop. Gene Segura at second base. Paul Goldschmidt over at first. The outfield would be Pete O'Brien in left. Michael Bourne in center. David Peralta in right. Wellington Castillo doing the catching for left-hander Robbie Ray.
Former Diamondback Martin Prado. Prado had 4 hits last night, 3 singles and a triple. He takes strike 1. He's batting .323 with 1 home run. Martin Prado, very unlike JT Realmuto. Crushing left-hand pitching this year, .362 versus lefties. Angel Hernandez says strike 2. I have a feeling we may say that occasionally this afternoon. I got crickets over there. You got a gold star for you're on your best behavior today.
I'm just trying to pace myself.
I know, it's appreciated. Yes, he went, says Will Little. 2 strikeouts started off for Robbie Ray. He gets Realmuto and Prado, who wants to have a debate with a first base umpire. And Will Little says talk to the hand, that's enough.
Number 21, Christian Yelich.
Looked like he got out there far enough. He doesn't believe it.
Good start for Robbie Ray. Now he'll deal with Christian Yelich. This is inside 1-0. Yelich 320 and 5 homers. At 911 OPS puts him just outside the top 10 in the league, and that's where he figures to live for the next decade or so. Very promising young player, just 24 years old. There's the strike, 1-1. Yelich has been on base 4 times in the series, a double, a triple, and a pair of walks. He's knocked in 3. Sends this out to Peter O'Brien, backing up near the warning track, and Peter runs it down. A 1-2-3 start for Robbie Ray. Diamondbacks coming up. On their ballpark stadium tour. Nicely done. Very nice indeed. The Diamondbacks and the Marlins in your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for Miami. It's the pitcher from the Palouse. Lefty Adam Conley, a Washington State Cougar. He has looked impressive at times this season. Bob, what did you like about Conley when we saw him last month?
He's just an uncomfortable at bat. That low 3/4 arm angle, almost sidearm at times. A lot of tailing action on his fastball. Also throws a slider and a straight changeup. He's just one of those funky lefties. Tough to pick up the ball.
Gene Segura leads it off. Strike 1. Segura 292 and 5 home runs.
Conley looks like he wants to work quickly. Normally we like a fast-paced ball game, but if that's the comfort level for the opposing pitcher, you've got to try to slow him down a little bit.
He has more strikeouts than hits allowed or innings pitched this year. He's been a little more hittable lately than he was earlier this season. Up the middle, a base hit by Rojas, and into center. Segura's aboard to start us off. Gene, the hitting machine, a leadoff single. Time now for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Well, the key to the game today is flip the script. These two guys hooked up back in early May in Florida. Robbie came out on the short end of the ball game that day. And Adam Conley gave up only 2 hits in his 5 1/3 innings work. Struck out 6, walked 1. So let's just turn that around this time.
Started third base for Brandon Drury, 277. He's got 8 home runs. That batting average for Brandon, the lowest it's been since April 22nd.
Well, for guys that you might consider to be on the bubble, there have been a lot of roster moves lately out of necessity. It's a good time to show your A game. Not that Brandon Drury doesn't try to do that every day, but been struggling a little bit at the plate, taking some wild swings, a little bit off balance in that right-handed batter's box. It'd be good for him to revert to form of spring training and earlier this season.
Brandon just 4 for his last 28 at the plate. Conley winless in his last 4 starts. The Marlins have lost in 3 of his last 4 outings, but he's pitched a lot better than that. The 0-1 is high in the air, center field. Marcell Ozuna. 1 away. Our eye on defense for the Marlins is brought to you by Nationwide Vision Center.
Same outfielders that we've seen the first 2 games this year. Yelich in left, Ozuna in center, Stanton in right. It'll be Martin Prado and Miguel Rojas on the left side of the infield. Derek Dietrich and Chris Johnson on the right side. JT Realmuto doing the catching for left-hander Adam Conley.
Paul Goldschmidt, 279 and 11 home runs. This pitch swinging, foul ground near the Marlins dugout, and it's out of play. I think they called catcher. Yes, they did. Catcher interference on that one, called by Angel Hernandez on JT Realmuto.
See if we can get a look at it here. Watch Realmuto's glove. Yeah, right there. Got him on the back of the fingers of that catcher's mitt. Goldie immediately points to Angel Hernandez. And Angel apparently heard the contact with the catcher's mitt, looking down at Realmuto, and awards Goldie first base on catcher's interference.
2 on, 1 out. Wellington Castillo. Castillo 270. He's homered 7 times. Had the day off yesterday. Singled and walked in Friday's series opener.
One of those whirly-bird swings from Wellington Castillo. Top hand comes off. Left hand kind of circles around and behind his head. Wrapped his left shoulder the other day on a very similar swing.
Gene Segura, the runner at second. Paul Goldschmidt at first. 1-1 pitch from lefty Adam Conley. Some whirly bird swings from Beef Wellington lately, Bob.
I don't know if that's something he's been working on or just something that has evolved in his swing, but it's something we certainly didn't see from him earlier this season or all of last season. That top hand coming off the bat and then the left hand finishing high behind his head.
Two pitch. Full count.
Matt Williams with another one of those universal signs down there at third base. Full count, possibly a run situation, but Matty put his right hand on top of the helmet and just held it there. Now that could be a decoy, but usually when a coach puts his hand on top of his hat, that's a don't run sign. And of course everybody in baseball knows that, so if you want to start your runners, you put the sign on and then decoy them with that don't run sign to the top of the helmet.
He missed with that one, and the bases are loaded. Here comes the freight train, David Peralta.
Right fielder, number
263 and 4 home runs. And he had a classic freight train RBI triple last night, his only hit of the series.
A couple of left-handed hitters in the lineup for the Diamondbacks today. Conley's one of those guys that has the reverse splits. Lefties actually hit him better than righties for average. 345 in Holmes' average.
This was David's RBI triple of Jose Fernandez last night. Big part of that big inning for the Diamondbacks as they got 4 in the 6th after Fernandez started the inning with a perfect game. 1-1.
When you saw that enthusiasm there at third base, trying to fire up his teammates and the fans. That's something that the Diamondbacks sorely missed when David Peralta was on the disabled list. Obviously missed his bat and his glove and his legs on the bases, but that energy, that life, something that Diamondbacks could have used in his absence.
Right center field. Dietrich wandering out there. He runs it down. Segura will tag from third. Throw is offline, and it's 1-0 Diamondbacks. The RBI for Peralta.
A good decision there by Gene Segura. You've got an infielder running away from home plate to make that play. There's no way he could get anything on the throw back to home plate. Had one of the outfielders come in and made the play right there. It's a little bit more of a risky go, but with the second baseman backing out into center field, an easy score for Gene Segura.
Well, a chance to make some noise for Peter O'Brien, recalled Friday from AAA Reno. Still looking for his first hit this year. Goldie at second, Castillo at first. 2 outs, a run in. There go the runners. O'Brien fouls it off. Diamondbacks getting aggressive with a rookie up there.
That's a mistake on Peter O'Brien's part right there. Young hitter, certainly he wants to make something happen like you mentioned, but man, when the runners get a jump like that, you have to take that pitch and allow them both to move into scoring position. Peter O'Brien's been an RBI machine at the minor league level. You'd much rather have 2 guys in scoring position than 1. Not to mention the fact it would have taken the force play off had those guys stolen.
See his career numbers in the big leagues. 2 on and 2 out. Peter went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts Friday. Took a lot of big swings and misses at breaking balls down in the dirt. And that's going to be part of his adjustment. One and one. As Bob mentioned, enormous numbers with AAA Reno. 330, 17 homers, 52 runs batted in 51 games. And getting an opportunity here to play just about every day. There it goes! Peter O'Brien, way back and gone! Welcome to the big leagues, Peter! He's on the board in 2016. His first big league home run came in this park last year against Dallas Keuchel. There goes number 2.
Oh man, fastball down and in, maybe off the plate, down and in. O'Brien gets down and threw a tremendous carry into the second deck out there, just inside the foul pole.
He has very rare raw power. That is a big time jumbo jack, courtesy of our friends at Jack in the Box. A 4 spot in the Diamondback first against Adam Conley. Here's Nick Ahmed. 220 and 3 homers for Nick. Now with a 5-game hitting streak. Think that'll help Peter relax just a little bit?
I would think so. Hit a ball about 450 feet into the second deck in left field. That'll help settle you down.
That's what he brings to the table. Type of power you just don't see that often.
Yeah, what a difference that'll make to the lineup if O'Brien can do that once in a while. Get better pitches for guys hitting in front of him in the lineup.
Statcast says 103 miles an hour off the bat of Peter O'Brien. Ahmed laces that one foul, and there's Ernie, no doubt Ned, who fields that one without a doubt. Right off the hop. Nice play, Ernie. Our Gold Glover down the left field line. There's Terry Foul Pole Finley working right field. Dribbler up the middle. Rojas double clutch, and he throws it away. In there for Danny Echeverria today. The shortstop has the day off. So Rojas, who was playing second Friday, got a little confused that time.
Yeah, a double clutch right there. He would have been much better served just to hang on to that ball. He'd go that far up the middle of the field and then mishandle it a little bit. You're not going to get the base runner at first. And tough break there for the D-backs. That ball hit the screen in front of the dugout and stayed on the field of play rather than getting into the dugout.
It's a single for Ahmed. Here's Robbie Ray, who, as we know, can hit the ball. Robbie clubbed a home run in his first at bat the other night against Tampa Bay. This is up the middle and into center field. Ahmed will head for third, and he's in there.
The Diamondbacks pitchers have really been helping themselves recently. Patrick Corbin a couple of days ago. Now Robbie Ray bangs one back up the middle of the field, putting D-backs on the corners for Michael Bourne.
That'll bring Juan Nieves out from the Marlins dugout, the pitching coach, with Connolly down 4-0, 2 on and 2 out, and already at 28 pitches. By the way, we're told 424 feet on the Peter O'Brien home run. And speaking of home runs, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast today, it's Michael Bourne who had the big one. Jose Fernandez, a perfect game through 5 2/3 until that. And that opened the floodgates for a 4-run D-back sixth. That really was one of those hits, Bob, that just changed everything with one swing, really ignited things.
And Tom Candiotti, our fine radio analyst, had an interesting theory about that. The play before, Zach Godley was thrown out at first base with Jose Fernandez covering the bag, and there was a little bit of contact down there at first and some good-natured ribbing back and forth, and he felt that Fernandez lost his focus and concentration after that play at first base because Michael Bourne came up and hit the home run, and Fernandez just wasn't the same for the rest of that inning.
Yeah, boy, it sure opened up a mess. After that, Segura single, Lamb double, Goldie single, Peralta tripled, all in a row, all with 2 outs. Bourne strikes out and Conley strands 2, but the Diamondbacks get 4, led by Peter O'Brien's first of the year. And as we head to the second, it's D-backs 4, Marlins nothing. Backs as we start the second. Time for greater coverage of baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. A look around the rest of the National League West. Right now, no score at Coors Field. The Padres and the Rockies. Later tonight, the Dodgers are at San Francisco. LA comes in here tomorrow for the first of three. Zach Greinke on the mound against former D-back great Mike Bolsinger. And it's Bradley and Maeda on Tuesday. Corbin Kershaw Wednesday afternoon. 4-0 courtesy of Peter O'Brien, a 3-run home run, his first of the year. And now Robbie Ray, who got a 1-2-3 inning to start his ball game with 2 strikeouts, will face Marcell Ozuna to lead off the Miami second.
Yeah,
4
Robbie.
runs. Oh, I'm sorry, Bob. Most by the Diamondbacks in the first inning this year.
And with a 4-run lead, Robbie should be even more aggressive in that strike zone.
Attack.
Stop nibbling and take a bite.
Ozuna 323, 12 home runs. This guy having another productive month at the plate. He's got 10 RBIs in his last 8 games. And Ozuna homered here last night off Daniel Hudson to lead off the 8th inning.
You'll always get a good argument from pitching coaches and from some pitchers about that very thing. You're spotted to an early lead, 4 runs in the first inning. Do you stick with your game plan, mix your pitches, pitch around the guys in the opposing lineup that maybe have given you problems in the past, or do you just throw strikes and let your defense work behind you? And guys that believe both sides of the coin. Personally, I like to see a guy go out there and attack the zone. Let your defense work. Try to keep that pitch count down. Try to get a little deeper into the ball game. Rest that bullpen a little bit.
That falls under the old pitching to the score category.
Yeah.
Well, I think they want to get Robbie to just attack guys in general.
Yeah, regardless of the score.
Yeah, just have that good steady tempo and challenge some hitters. Be aggressive out there. Get ground balls. 2-2 on Marcell Ozuna. Well, Robbie said he told himself when he started out very well against the Rays last Monday, just go nice and easy, get ground balls, get guys out. Had a nice tempo out there early. He was keeping the ball down early, and then he said he just tried to do too much and things got away from him very quickly. Drives it to center. Michael Bourne's out there. One away. Here comes big Giancarlo Stanton.
Right fielder number 27.
195, 12 home runs. He has 1 hit in the series, his double in that 7th inning on Friday night. He has struck out 3 times.
Let's try to keep him quiet for one more day and then hope he heats up like crazy. Marlins go home to play the Padres and the Rockies. Wouldn't hurt anything if they'd have their right fielder heat up at that time.
Well, Stanton has been in an offensive nosedive for more than a solid month now. Back on May the 6th, he was doing just fine, hitting .274 for the year, but now he's at 195. There's a strike, 1-1. So over his last 26 games, Stanton has hit 116. And he has struck out a staggering 46 times in his last 95 at bats. Barry Bonds, the hitting coach, on the right. Don Mattingly, the skipper, on the left. Bonds has been given a lot of credit with the overhaul of Marcell Ozuna, who's having an all-star caliber season. But Stanton's nosedive is a mystery. Fights that one off. Goldie's got it by the first base line. 5 up, 5 down for Robbie Ray.
First baseman number 12. Chris.
Here's another former Diamondback, Chris Johnson. The right-hand version of their Marlins first base platoon, along with Justin Bour, who sits today against the lefty Robbie Ray. Johnson started Friday's game, went 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. There's a strike, 1-1. Little discussion there with Angel Hernandez. You got to have those discussions while you're not looking at the umpire, right?
Yeah, you shouldn't intentionally show him up. Same thing with catchers. They'll sit and look out at the pitcher, but just in a normal speaking voice, the umpire can hear you.
Hard to second. Segura bobbles it, recovers, throws him out. 6 up, 6 down for Robbie Ray, who's got a 4-0 lead here at Chase Field. The D-backs second. They lead at 4-0. Hey, if you're a baseball fan, then you need the all-new Fox Sports app. Get highlights, interviews, injury updates, scores, instant alerts on your favorite teams and rivals. As Segura takes strike one. We encourage you to download that right now in the iOS App Store, Google Play, or visit foxsports.com/app. 0-2. Segura singled and scored to lead off the ball game. He's now got 4 hits in the series. Boy, Conley is pitching like he's got a plane to catch.
The bus is double parked.
Apparently. He's an interesting guy, Adam Conley. Watch his front foot, the way he really plants that front foot down hard. He takes a very big step. Sticks that foot out there. He really has a unique perspective about how he approaches hitters. He wants to charge at them. He wants to run downhill toward the batter and get low on that mound. That way he can release the ball really close to the hitter. But watch where that front foot lands. It's a big step. Segura gets it in the air. Left center field. Ozuna under the home run porch runs it down.
Up to bat, third baseman, Brandon Drury.
One down for Brandon Drury. Ever seen a guy, Bob, that sort of runs downhill toward the batter like Conley does?
Well, I hate to keep making comparisons with our own left-hander Randy Johnson, but he took a long stride and really got his upper body out over his front leg, which made it seem like he was letting the ball go from about 2 feet in front of home plate. Kind of the same theory, although Conley a little more leg work to jump out there on that front leg.
6'3", 200-pounder Adam Conley. Second-round pick out of Washington State in the 2011 draft. Program that produced Tom Niedenfuer and John Olerud, among others. My favorite WSU graduate is the throwing Samoan, Jack Thompson.
Yeah, there you go. Blast from the past.
Yeah, isn't it? That's one of the great nicknames of all time. Great WSU quarterback. Conley sort of working around the edges of the strike zone, but he's fallen behind 3-1. Got under it, popped it up behind second base. Rojas. 2 outs. Here's Goldie, who reached and scored on catcher's interference in his first time. Scored on the O'Brien 3-run homer. Four for 8 in the series, riding a 6-game hitting streak. That's going to reach the seats. Goldie just crushing it right now. Batting better than .400 in his last 15 games. And in those 15 games, 8 extra base hits, 10 runs batted in. And he looks at strike 2.
I always get a kick out of Goldie's batting gloves. They're just plain basic white batting gloves, the kind you might see a guy, you know, throwing cinder blocks around a construction site or something. Other guys, all the stylish new batting gloves with all the designs on them and colors and everything, and Paul just wears work gloves up there to the plate.
He looks like he may have bought those in 1978 or someplace at the driving range. Looking for a couple of Goldie gones here. 1-2 pitch. Aces that down the left field line. It's headed for a corner. And Goldie's headed for second base. He is in there with his 11th double.
And the work gloves come through for him this time. Conley trying to run a fastball in on the hands of Paul Goldschmidt. That's usually not a real good idea. Quick swing, top spin line drive down into that left field corner for a 2-out extra base hit.
Already 5 hits for the Diamondbacks. Wellington Castillo walked and scored his last time up. Diamondbacks got a 4-run first. David Peralta had an RBI sac fly, and then Peter O'Brien launched a 3-run homer. .424 feet, in fact, on the O'Brien home run. Squibs it the other way. That's a fair ball. Goldie's going to score. Castillo will stop at first with an RBI single. And it's 5-0. We have tacos in the second inning.
Early tacos today. Tacos for breakfast on a Sunday. We like it. Yeah.
All right. Now batting, number 6.
Well, they're not all pretty, but they sure work. Right off the end of the bat, a little cue shot just past Chris Johnson out into right field to drive home Goldie. Big 2-out extra base hit sets up an RBI opportunity for Wellington Castillo. Nicely done.
David Peralta drove in the game's first run. First pitch swinging, lifts it in the air, left center field. Yelich calls off Ozuna. And they strand Castillo, but the Diamondbacks tack on another run through 2. They lead the Marlins 5-0. On the left, that's Patrick Kirsch of the Diamondbacks media relations staff. And on that last foul ball in the previous half inning, PK, watch this as Bob. It's sad and pathetic, really.
Well, in his defense, he's in there for his bat, not his hands. That's for sure.
And you can see Pat O'Connell and Casey Wilcox, no help at all.
None.
They're just sitting there mocking him. And poor PK's just kind of got to wear it right now. There's Casey, who had celebrated a birthday.
Yeah, he looks older.
Yesterday, yeah, he does. Doesn't he? More mature, certainly. I think we could all use some of that. Derek Dietrich leads off the third against Robbie Ray, who's retired all 6 he's faced. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. Dietrich, 298 and 3 home runs.
If you're going to make an attempt on a foul ball in the press box or the broadcast area here, you better make the play.
Yeah. Robbie jumps ahead 0-2 on Dietrich, who started at second base last night, hit leadoff, and was on base 3 times, a walk and a couple of singles. He scored a run. Impression so far on Robbie Ray?
The runs certainly don't hurt anything. It looks like he's pitching a little more aggressively, which is what we said at the top of the show he needs to do. His stuff plays so well when he's in the strike zone.
Well, the issue has been finding that strike zone consistently. Into the shift, Gene Segura on the short hop. Robbie Ray's retired the first 7 he's faced. That brings up Miguel Rojas, the shortstop today.
And this is an inning where you'd really like to see Robbie just bury these guys at the bottom of the order. The 7, 8, 9 hitters for the Marlins, including the opposing pitcher, moving into the on-deck circle right now. These are where you hope to have a very quick 1, 2, 3 inning and keep the pitch count down so you can really bear down on those guys in the middle of the order.
A day off for Danny Echeverria, so Rojas is in it short. He started at second base Friday, went 0 for 3. First hit for the Marlins is a 1-out single for Rojas in the 3rd.
Hey, Diamondbacks fans, fill out your 2016 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot now at dbacks.com on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. Vote up to 35 times. You can vote today. You can vote tomorrow at dbacks.com/vote.
Now Brandon Drury will move in from 3rd with the pitcher Adam Conley up there. And Rojas at first with 1 out. Squares to bunt and takes ball 1. Looking for his first base hit this year in 20 at bats. 1 sacrifice bunt on the resume. Now look down to 3rd. Lenny Harris coaching down there. Perry Hill at first. Drury in again at 3rd on the grass. 4 or 5 steps creeping in. Conley pulls back and takes ball 2. There's Lenny Harris.
Those are his game glasses. I watched him in batting practice earlier today, or just the infield practice that the Marlins took before the game. He wasn't wearing those glasses. He saves those for the game.
Bunts that foul off Wellington Castillo, 2-1. Those are nice specs. I can see why you won't want to ruin those in batting practice or something.
Gamers.
Yeah. Looks like you could go scuba diving in those things. Goldie holding Rojas on the base at first. Drury in at third. Pulls back and takes strike two.
Look down once again to Lenny Harris to see if the bunt is still on in a 2-strike count.
Brandon Drury still on the grass at third. 4 or 5 steps in. 2-2 pitch. Slices it foul. Well, Robbie now at 40 pitches, 26 strikes, and working hard to retire a guy who's trying to give himself up. No bunt this time. He bounces it to third. Drury's there for one. Segura for two, and they roll it. Bottom third on the way. It's 5-0 Diamondbacks. Nothing lead as we start the home half of the third. 3 of those runs courtesy of Peter O'Brien. It's our Jimmy John's delivery of the game.
It's one of those pitches hitters talk about. All I had to do was drop the head on it. There's a fastball off the plate, inside and down, and if you can get the barrel to that ball and keep it fair like Peter O'Brien did, it will go a long way.
And that one went 424 feet. His first this year, his second big league homer, and now he'll lead off the third against lefty Adam Conley.
You know, we talk about it with Goldie all the time. For a big guy, what a quick swing Goldie has, and I think Peter O'Brien is in that same category. It's a little bit of a longer swing, but he gets the barrel to the ball in a hurry.
A guy with a very high contact to damage ratio. He can blow up some scoreboards along the way. And he will lead off the third. O'Brien, Ahmed, and the pitcher spot, Robbie Ray, 6, 7, 8.
I always like the description that scouts use, especially in the minor leagues. He has light tower power.
I've seen him hit a few over light towers. This one is up near the roof. Eric Dietrich looking way up there, and he's got, oh, he dropped it, and he's safe. O'Brien's aboard. No transfer rule there. We may have a discussion about this one. Ted Barrett, the crew chief, is the second base umpire. He was right there. Did he drop it on the transfer? Don Mattingly is out there.
Had that little Alfonso Soriano hop there at the very tail end, trying to catch that pop up, and just didn't command it out of the glove into his bare hand.
It's a legal catch if the fielder had complete control over the ball in his glove, but drops the ball after intentionally opening his glove to make the transfer to his throwing hand.
That came out quickly. I didn't see the glove open up to transfer the ball into his throwing hand right there.
There is actually no transfer rule. There are only guidelines as to what is and is not a catch for the umpires. And they're going to get on the headsets.
Ladies and gentlemen, the previous play is under official video replay review. The call on the field.
Dietrich just a little too casual on that pop-up.
It was way up there. It was in the rafters, just underneath the roof up here. Of course, the replay and rules committee in recent years has clarified the instructions to the umpires on their interpretation of this play. They changed it at the beginning of last year, I think, and it was just a mess, and everybody was going crazy. And so they went back to the old interpretation of the rule. There is no requirement that the fielder successfully remove the ball from his glove in order for it to be ruled a catch. And the Marlins are challenging the call of safe on the field. Now, the rules committee said last year that if the fielder drops the ball while attempting to remove it to make a throw, the umpires should rule that the ball has been caught. Now, that's provided he has secured it in his glove, and that's where you sort of get into a gray area.
Yeah, very much a gray area.
Did he have it in his glove before he attempted to transfer the ball? That is where they have to draw the line. Oh, you saw, Bob. Here's one more look. Let's see. Does he have it before he transfers it to the throwing hand? That's tough.
That came out the webbing of the glove awfully quick there. Of course, second baseman used that smaller glove to begin with. Outfielders used a very long 11.5, 12-inch glove so they could reach up above the fence, make those diving catches into gaps. But middle infielders, especially second basemen, use a very small glove.
And they overturn the call. It's a catch, and now Chip Hale is out here looking for an explanation. There's the crew chief, Ted Barrett, who made the call at second base.
Pretty tough to argue either way on that one. I mean, we looked at it several times, and it was really tough to tell if he ever did totally have control of that ball in his glove.
That may have been Chip's argument. How can you tell definitively? And of course, once they put the headsets on, it's made in New York, and it's not here. So there's not much the Chip can say. So it's a pop-up to second base when all is said and done. Here's Nick Ahmed. First pitch swinging again. Prado has it. 2 pitches, 2 outs for Conley in the third. Well, Robbie Ray now is just going to have to hit another home run.
I was just thinking the same thing, but I think it would probably serve everybody's purpose a little better if he take till he gets a strike right here. This has a possibility of being a real quick inning for Adam Conley.
I mean, he had a home run against the Rays here Monday. That was blasted, and he dunks that into right. Robbie Ray, he's 2 for 2. A pair of singles for the D-backs pitcher. This is his home run in his last start. And this one was an absolute no-doubter against Tampa Bay.
It's Chris Archer, nonetheless.
Got a really nice swing on it. Michael Bourne struck out his first time. Diamondbacks, Bob, have swung at the first pitch in all 3 at-bats in this inning. Make it 4. Dietrich at second. It started there and it ends there. So we'll head to the 4th inning. Diamondbacks lead the Marlins 5-0.
Holding a 5-0 lead over the Marlins. It's time to take a look back at baseball history, brought to you by Geico. On this date in 1997, the first interleague game after 126 years is played as the Giants beat the Rangers down in Texas 4-3. Darrell Hamilton with the first base hit in an interleague game, and Glenn Allen Hill becomes the National League's first designated hitter.
Boo. Boo. I wish they'd get rid of interleague play. I know the fans like it, it sells tickets, but I miss the separation. Makes the All-Star game special, makes the World Series really special, adds that feel. But you know, I'm just an old cranky guy. What do I know?
You know, I think it served its purpose, though. You know, there was a time when baseball needed something, a little shot in the arm, to generate some more fan interest, generate some more player interest, and I think interleague play accomplished that. But enough's enough.
Well, we have an interleague stop on our next road trip. We go to Toronto. 4 at Philly, 2 at the Rogers Center, and then 4 more at Colorado. JT Realmuto, who struck out to lead off the ball game, leads off the 4th against Robbie Ray, who's holding a 5-0 lead. So far, he's given up just 1 hit. First pitch swinging right to Nick Ahmed. Martin Prado now.
This might be the last chance the Blue Jays have for a long time to officially retire my Blue Jays number while I'm in town.
Well, that would be convenient if they did it while we were there instead of waiting until, you know, the off season. That way you and Joan don't have to fly out there again.
Yeah, that would.
2 birds, 1 stone. Yeah. Hello.
It's convenient. Be considerate.
Put you up there with Joe Carter and whoever else.
I've told the story before. When I went to Toronto, I was given the number 9. You know, you don't complain when you're the new guy. 9 is fine. But it was worn before by Rick Leach,
the Michigan quarterback,
who apparently really PO'd a bunch of American League fans, because everywhere we'd go, people would see the number 9 and just immediately start ragging on me. And I'd point to the name. No, I'm not Rick Leach. But I still got it everywhere we went.
He was Rick Leach was a Michigan quarterback and a great college quarterback. Not good, great. He ended up in the Yankee system at one point. I think George Steinbrenner went after him. He's got an interesting story. 0-2 to Prado. Well, if I were you, I would take that as a compliment. I mean, he was a fit young man.
Handsome young man.
Yes, strapping young lad. Much like yourself.
Well, I couldn't get 15 in Toronto because Lloyd Moseby had that number. And he was a legend in Toronto.
Prado reaches out and dunks that into center. A 1-out single, second hit for Miami.
Talked about Prado in yesterday's ball game. He doesn't always hit it hard, but more often than not he finds grass somewhere out there just over the infield, just in front of the outfielders.
Christian Yelich flying out to end the first in his first at bat. See the numbers on Yelich. He is a very good hitter, and left-handers are no issue for him, batting better than .330 versus lefties this year. An on-base percentage over .400 against left-hand pitching. This is the point in the ball game where Robbie Ray really needs to lock in. Remember his previous start against the Rays last Monday. He was pitching really well. Got the first 2 outs in the 4th inning. And then suddenly the wheels just fell off all at once. 8 of the next 10 Rays hitters reached base against him. They had 6 hits, 2 walks, and 5 runs scored in a span of 10 batters. And Robbie was gone after just 4 1/3. So it's just about at that same point here today. And some good hitters coming up. Yelich at the plate right now. Ozuna behind him. Segura at second, spins and throws. They get one. They get two. Just what the doctor ordered. A nice double play turned by the D-back infield. Segura headed toward first. Stops, spins, throws. Ahmed turns it. It stays 5-0. Diamondbacks, bottom of the fourth on the way. Hey, D-backs fans, it's Mountain Dew Decision 2016. Dew fans everywhere asked to bring back two legendary flavors, Mountain Dew Baja Blast and Pitch Black, but only one will stay, and you decide. Vote online today at decision.com. Gene Segura singled and scored to lead off the first for the D-backs. He's 1 for 2. Off the mound, up the middle and into center, a base hit. Segura with 5 hits in the series. Gene, the hitting machine.
Third time in the ball game he's led off an inning. Of course, he led off the bottom of the first with a base hit. Later came around to score. Flied out to center field in his second at bat, leading off in the second inning, and now leading off in the fourth, the base hit through the middle.
So the leadoff man aboard for Brandon Drury, who's 0 for 2. Getting the start at third base this afternoon. Brandon 4 for his last 30 up there. He's hitting .275. Boy, Adam Conley has really had to labor here right from the get-go. Segura singled to lead off the ball game, and he's had traffic around him on the bases ever since. That one's fouled back. D-backs with 4 runs in the first, highlighted by a long 3-run homer off the bat of Peter O'Brien. And with 2 outs in the second, Goldie doubled. Castillo singled him home, and it's 5-0. 1-1 to Drury. Other RBI came in that first on a David Peralta sacrifice fly. Late time granted by Angel Hernandez. Brandon last 27 games, only 3 extra base hits. He's not been barreling up the ball like you saw him do in April and early May. And he was as locked in as anybody on the ball club. And now the rotation issues will continue for Chip Hale. How to get at bats for Drury and Yasmani Tomas. How to get Michael Bourne in there. Get Peter O'Brien in there most of the time, which is why he's up here. It's still a crowded outfield even with Chris Owings on the DL. A roller to second. Dietrich will settle for one. And as Goldie walks up, time now for our Lowe's home field advantage. Goldie so far has scored twice, reached on catcher's interference and doubled. And here we go, an 11-game hitting streak here at Chase Field, and during that streak he's hitting almost .530.
8 extra base hits. He's driven in 9 runs, been in the middle of everything offensively for the Diamondbacks here at home recently.
Gene Segura, the runner at second base, and 1 out. Goldie with his double in the second, now riding a 7-game hitting streak. Oh, goodness. You're still on your best behavior. You get 2 gold stars so far.
It's a Sunday.
Serenity now. 0-2. That didn't work for Frank Costanza. I don't think it'll work well for you either. 1 or 2 more of those and Mount Vesuvius may go.
It just changes the game so much.
Oh, he reaches out and rolls it away from the shift. It's off the glove of Dietrich. And Segura will score. It's 6-0 Diamondbacks. An RBI single for Goldie.
Not one of his more picturesque swings, but gets the barrel on it and hits it hard enough that Dietrich can't make the adjustment from his pull position up the middle of the field. That one gets through for an RBI base hit.
That one kind of hopped right over his glove. Now 9 hits for the D-backs. Still only 1 out in the inning. It's Wellington Castillo, who has walked, singled. He's got an RBI. He scored a run. Beef Wellington seems like he's kind of coming around a little bit as of late. Been a little more active at the plate. Chopped foul. Diamondbacks doing a lot better today against Adam Conley than they did May 5th at Marlins Park. He was very impressive in that outing. Gave up only 2 hits in 5 1/3. 6 strikeouts, got the win. As the Marlins won that game 4-0. But since that win over the Diamondbacks, Conley has won just once in his last 6 starts. Hard to third, a fair ball. Goldie takes the turn and heads for third. Matt Williams will stop him there. It's a double for Wellington Castillo, his 10th of the year.
Right fielder.
Fastball down. We've talked about Wellington and that whirly-bird finish. Seems like he's handling pitches down in the zone better than up in the zone. The one's up, but where he takes that really awkward swing and finishes with a bat high above and behind his helmet. That time the pitch was down. Just dropped the barrel of the bat on it, pulled it into the corner for a double.
Big chance to do some damage for David Peralta. Juan Nieves sensing that. He'll come out and have a conversation with his pitcher. As the Marlins bullpen will show some activity for the first time today.
Brought somebody to a baseball game who had never watched a baseball game before, they would assume that everybody in the opposing dugout is a lip reader.
It is silly, isn't it?
It really is.
I don't know how they hear each other like that. Oh, the ballpark is loud. Infield in on the edge of the grass for Peralta. David drove in a run with a sac fly in the first. He flied out his last time up. Goldie at third, Castillo at second. David versus left-hand pitchers right now. The batting average is just under 190. 6 for 32 when facing lefties, including a double, a triple, and a home run. That number for David versus lefties last year was 250, so he's got some work to do. It's a piece of that one, 2-1.
And David's numbers really improved against lefties last year when he had to face them on a daily basis. After Ender Inciarte pulled the hamstring, went on the disabled list, David was in the lineup every day against everybody. And that's when you saw the numbers start to climb. As he saw more and more left-handed pitchers, he got more and more comfortable.
That was right about on this date almost exactly. We were in Anaheim and Inciarte had a hamstring. That one is bounced foul right at Dave McKay. A chance for Terry foul pole Finley. Right on that one. Take a bow, Terry. 2-2. Full count. And O'Brien, who hit a 3-run homer in his first at bat today, is on deck. Called strike 3 by Angel Hernandez. Good pitch. Yep.
Sometimes a hitter will do that to try to influence the call of the plate umpire. You know you've taken a good pitch and try to toss your bat away and head down that first baseline quickly. He wasn't buying it that time.
Big strikeout for Conley. Now he'll work to the rookie O'Brien. Peter homered in the first. He swung at the first pitch his last time up and popped up. You saw it when we looked at Peter last year, Bob, near the end of the year. A very patient young man up there. He's not walked a lot of the minor leagues, but during his brief time last year in September, he was pretty patient up there. Haven't seen it this time, though.
His first at bat was a base on balls, which
Yeah.
shocked all of us, because you think of a kid coming up from the minor leagues with the reputation of being a big time power hitter, and he worked a base on balls in his first at bat.
But he has been swinging away since he's rejoined the team on Friday. Struck out 3 times Friday night. A lot of swings and misses. He's down 0-2. Peter's a big dude up there, 6'4", 235. A roller over the mound, Rojas. O'Brien made it close, but they get the out in strand 2. Diamondbacks add one more. They lead it 6-0.
We head to the top half of the 5th inning. Hey fans, we invite you to participate in Gila River game nights by signing up at one of the interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Diamondbacks regular season home game.
Well, this is the big inning for Robbie Ray. He's got a 6-0 lead. Robbie has not pitched past the 5th inning in any of his previous 4 starts. In fact, twice in those last 4 starts he's not been able to complete that 5th inning. And you can see his ERA in this 5th is over 14.5 this season. As Chip Hale said, it's become the bugaboo of the 5th inning for Robbie Ray. Got to find a way to get over it. So we'll see how he does here. Marcell Ozuna will lead it off. Ozuna, Stanton, Johnson 4, 5, and 6 in the Miami 5th. Mike Butcher's been very frank with Robbie, telling him you're just going to have to find a way to get through that 5th inning, because they believe with his stuff, and we've all seen it, that he's really much better than that.
Well, and Robbie admitted himself it has to be mental at this point, because physically he feels fine. There's no drop in velocity or movement on any of his off-speed pitches. You got to get it out of your head.
50 pitches, 34 strikes. 1-1 on Marcell Ozuna. Ozuna 3 hits, 3 RBIs in the series. He's hit safely in 5 straight.
D-backs have turned a couple of double plays in the 3rd and the 4th inning. Gives them 59 on the season, which is 4th most in the National League. That's a good thing. It's a bad thing. It means you have a lot of traffic on the bases, but you've been able to erase some of that traffic via the double play ball.
And that's happened to Robbie twice so far in the ball game. In the 3rd and the 4th, he gave up a 1-out single and then got a double play. So through 4, he has faced the minimum.
Pirates are 1st in the National League. St. Louis Cardinals 2nd. The Padres are 3rd, and the Diamondbacks 4th in the National League.
Deep center field, it backs up Michael Bourne. Here comes Giancarlo.
Right fielder, Giancarlo Stanton.
Don't knock him down. Don't upset him. Just keep right after him the way you have this whole series. Let him continue to struggle at the plate until he gets back home to South Florida.
Popped up his first at bat. Stanton said he is trying not to be miserable. That's where he says he doesn't want to go. But the way he's trending, you wouldn't blame him if he got in a bad mood from time to time. He missed 7 games during the last week of May with soreness in his right side. And since he's been back, he is 4 for 37 with 17 strikeouts. That one's in the dirt. 2 balls and 1 strike on Giancarlo Stanton.
And you might notice Giancarlo Stanton not wearing the jaw guard that we saw him wear in the ball game last night and most ball games.
I was not aware that came and went. Especially considering he was hit by a pitch last night.
Apparently he only wears the face guard in at bats against right-handed pitchers. I kind of miss it.
It does throw you off a bit. Called strike 3. Another strikeout for Giancarlo Stanton. That's 3 for Robbie Ray. And so far the 5th inning, no issue. 2 up, 2 down.
There's a fastball down middle of the plate. That's a ball that Giancarlo Stanton normally would tee up like a driving range. See how far he could hit it.
Barry Bonds. Chris Johnson grounded out his first time up. Hey fans, the Dodgers will be here at Chase Field this week, June 13th through the 15th. Get to all the games for only $25 with a D-backs value pack. The value pack includes a lower level bleacher ticket, a Subway sandwich, and a Pepsi. Get your tickets now for the D-backs and the Dodgers starting tomorrow. You can get them online at dbacks.com/value. Johnson drives that to left center field. O'Brien's over there to get it. And it's a 2-out single, the third hit for Miami.
Second baseman,
Derek Dietrich, the second baseman, steps in. He grounded out his first time up. Dietrich 296 on the year. He's about 265 against lefties, so he can handle himself up there against a left-hand pitcher. With 2 outs, Brandon Drury will move behind second base umpire Ted Barrett. And you see Nick Ahmed all by himself midway between second and third.
And you saw Brandon come in there a couple of steps and asked Ted Barrett to move a couple steps to his right, so Brandon had a better view of the strike zone as that ball gets into the hitting area.
He rolls it the other way. Ahmed is right there. And Robbie Ray gets through the 5th. 5 scoreless for Robbie Ray. He leads it 6-0. Bottom 5 coming up. Hey fans, tomorrow Zach Greinke and Mike Bolsinger face their former teams. D-backs and Dodgers coverage starts at 6 with the Diamondbacks live pregame show on Fox Sports Arizona and televised in Spanish at 6:30 p.m. on Fox Sports Arizona Plus. That's presented by your Valley Honda dealers. Nick Ahmed leads off the Arizona 5th against Adam Conley. D-backs have out hit the Marlins 10-3. They lead at 6-0. Nick has single grounded out, 1 for 2. So Nick has now got a 6-game hitting streak. Johnson has it. Conley covers. 1 away. Chaz Roberts, cool plays of the game. Robbie Ray at the plate.
He's 4 for his last 4, 3 singles and a home run. The franchise record is 5 consecutive hits by a pitcher. Micah Owings back in 07-08 and Mike Morgan back in 2000, each with 5 consecutive hits.
Yeah, Robbie, in his first 2 at-bats last Monday against the Rays, homered and singled. And he has singled in his first 2 at-bats here today. Conley at 80 pitches, 55 strikes. I can't recall seeing a pitcher, Bob, that works faster than Adam Conley. He's right up there with Mark Burley in that lot.
Yeah.
And this guy is in a hurry.
Right back on the rubber, ready to get his sign.
Robbie Ray gets it in the air the other way. Christian Yelich is there. 2 outs.
The Diamondbacks as a staff have the most hits in the major leagues this year. 29 base hits among D-backs pitchers. The Cubs are second with 23 base hits.
Even the Cubs pitchers hit.
Yeah.
Bullpen keeping themselves amused with Robbie Ray working on a 3-hit shutout right now. Michael Bourne 0 for 2, struck out, grounded out. Last night, of course, Michael Bourne clubbed the pitch out of here to right. Broke up Jose Fernandez's perfect game. It was his first home run since July 5th, 2014, nearly 2 years ago. And he's got himself a 2-out single. Gene Segura's had a good day, 2 for 3, a pair of singles. He scored twice. He's got 5 hits in the series. Strike 1. Padres and Rockies still scoreless. 6th inning at Coors Field. Later tonight, the Dodgers at San Francisco against the Giants. 1-2.
Two knocks on the day for Gene Segura, giving him 23 multi-hit games on the season. He was tied with Marcell Ozuna at 22 coming into play today. So far, Ozuna 0 for 2. Segura 2 for 3.
Well, that's why he's the hitting machine. Now, when you get a guy up here and they start calling him the unknown comic, then there's a problem. Walk up there with a bag over his head. Drifting near the seats. Chris Johnson gives it a look, but it's out of play. Don't forget, fans, dbacks.com/tickets. Dodgers are in here starting tomorrow for 3 games. Zach Greinke on the mound tomorrow night against his former team. Up against the former Diamondback Mike Bolsinger. He's a lazy fly ball for Stanton. He calls off Dietrich. And that ends the inning. We'll go to the 6th at Chase Field. It's 6-0 Diamondbacks. Are working on a 3-hit shutout. Our Dig Life high-speed highlights presented by Cox. He's worked 5 scoreless, given up only 3 hits with 3 strikeouts.
And one of the keys we talked about earlier in the ballgame is eliminating some of those unnecessary pitches after he gets to a 2-strike count on an opposing hitter. He's done a much better job today of finishing up those at-bats in a timely fashion, and hence the pitch count very reasonable at this point in the ballgame.
And got 2 big double plays to win both the 3rd and 4th innings. There's the pitching line on Robbie so far. 64 pitches, 42 strikes to pitch count. In tremendous shape for Robbie. That's a vast improvement for him. And Miguel Rojas, the shortstop, leads off the Miami 6th. Pitcher's spot is due up next for the Marlins, and a Danny Echeverria has walked out into the on-deck circle. Getting a day off defensively with Rojas in there at short. Derek Dietrich playing second. 1-1. Rojas, a former LA Dodger. Marlins got him before last year in the D. Gordon deal. Dan Herron also involved in that trade. High fly ball, very shallow right for Peralta. So that'll close the book on Adam Conley, as Danny Echeverria will hit for the pitcher. 243 and 3 home runs. Rough day for Conley. Went 5 innings, gave up 6 runs on 11 hits. Echeverria 0 for 4 last night. Single walk, scored a run, and batting leadoff in Friday's series opener. He's another guy with backward platoon splits. He's batting only .200 versus left-hand pitchers this year. And 2.
And in an extremely rare occurrence, our keys to the ball game is actually starting to play out here. Flip the script. Conley was really tough against the D-backs down in South Florida. Robbie Ray struggled against the Marlins there, and it's been exactly the opposite here this afternoon.
Well, I think you're selling you and your staff short, frankly. I mean, a lot of work goes into the Valley Honda dealers' key to the game. I mean, that's their meetings, their film presentations. I see pie charts, graphs. There's a lot of analytics that goes into it,
which guarantees absolutely nothing.
I know our producer, Brad the Big Dog Weimer, is often involved in those meetings. He always brings some ideas to the table.
Sure.
1-2. Dustin McGowan, who was throwing earlier in the Marlins bullpen, is back up and throwing as opposed to throwing up. Two-two to a Danny Echeverria. That's in the seats as well. Now, you were mentioning about your number possibly being retired when we go to Toronto. You know, they've only retired One number other than Jackie Robinson's 42. That's number 12 for Robbie Alomar. So Joe Carter and Lloyd Mosby and George Bell and Dave Steve and all those guys, Jimmy Key. None of those great Blue Jay players have been retired. You should start a support group.
Yeah, really.
Boy, this is the first time today really we've seen Robbie fall into one of his old traps, trying to put away a hitter with 2 strikes.
Five foul balls in this at bat by Echeverria. He'd had only 3 2-strike fouls the entire game up until this at bat.
He's really had to work. Still 2-2. Bounce that one. The count is full. You know, it's funny because after you wore number 9 in Toronto, the next guy who got it was John Overroot.
Yeah.
So you kind of warmed it up for him, I think.
Matt Williams in his number 9. Oh, stop it.
Yeah, this is what we've seen before. You know who wore number 9 in Toronto last year? Cliff Pennington.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Sean Mayberry, former Kansas City Royals great, wore it while he played there back at Exhibition Stadium. This is classic. This is costing Robbie potentially another inning of work.
Yeah, you're right.
Pitch number 13 in the at-bat coming up. That one might stay playable for Goldie. And Robbie wins the battle.
Boy, just peppering that strike zone. Look at that cluster of pitches in the zone. The last one at 95. Finally puts a ball in play that Goldie can catch over there just in front of the barrier.
And now the infield will give him a chance to catch his breath after that long at bat by Echeverria. 13 pitches. 80 for the ball game, 54 strikes, and with 2 outs, here's JT Realmuto. He wanted him to attack the strike zone and be aggressive. He sure did that time.
Sure did. He obliterated that strike zone with pitch after pitch after pitch.
Realmuto 0 for 2. Got some news from the minor league front. Mitch Haniger homered for Reno today. He was just called up from AA Mobile, and Mitch, who they got from Milwaukee in the Gerardo Parra deal, has hit in all 3 games since his promotion. A homer Friday, another home run today. One and 2 on JT Realmuto. That was a good trade for the Diamondbacks. They also got Anthony Banda, very promising left-hand starting pitcher in that trade at the deadline 2 years ago. Well, the foul balls with 2 strikes really starting to bite Robbie now. We'll keep going.
Somebody threw a switch. We mentioned Robbie only had 3 2-strike fouls the entire ball game until this inning, and now gets to 2 strikes and every pitch is fouled off.
Does he need another type of pitch to throw in these situations? Maybe give a guy a different look, get him to chase something. There you go. It took a while, but he works a 1-2-3 inning. Robbie Ray, 6 scoreless at 6-0 Diamondbacks.
Marlins 6-0 as we head to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, like today, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Set for the bottom of the 6th inning, and the new pitcher for the Marlins. Speaking of former Blue Jay greats, it's the right-hander Dustin McGowan, pitched in Toronto for a long time, and is up for the 2nd time this year from AAA New Orleans in the Marlins system. His 18th appearance, a 3.44 ERA. Brandon Drury leads it off. He's 0 for 3. McGowan's a guy who was a starter for a long time in Toronto and then became a key part of their bullpen a little bit later in his career. Last year was with the Phillies, spent a lot of time in their minor league system as well, pitching for the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, and now he's a Marlin. He strikes out Brandon Drury to open up the 6th.
Little slider off that outside corner to Brandon Drury. Not even close to that ball. Brandon looks like he's standing a little farther off the plate. Maybe it's just my imaginations. Just can't seem to get to those pitches on the outer third of the plate. Balls that he used to drive into the gap earlier this season. Just not quite getting out there and reaching that pitch.
Yeah, he's in a 4 for 32 right now, Brandon Drury. There's strike 1 to Goldie, who has reached base safely all 3 times he's been up there. Catcher's interference, doubled and scored in the 2nd, RBI single in the 4th. He has scored twice. Goldie with 6 hits in the series. Two and one. First game of a 3-game set with the Dodgers tomorrow. Diamondback Live pregame show starts at 6. Zach Greinke, former Dodger, against Mike Bolsinger, former D-back. He did not go, says Will Little, and it's a full count, 3-2. Archie Bradley pitches against LA here Tuesday. Kenta Maeda for LA. And then a getaway day game Wednesday afternoon. Patrick Corbin versus Clayton Kershaw. That is a foul ball. And after that, we are off on a long 10-game road trip. Nice play by Ernie No Doubt Ned right there. After the game on Wednesday, we go to Philadelphia for 4, Toronto for 2, then Colorado for 4.
5 nights in Philadelphia.
Yeah. That's a lot of cheesesteaks. Go down to Pat and Gino's. Ever been down there?
Oh,
where the
sure.
Two of them are right across from each other. That's a great thing to do in Philadelphia.
That's a freak show. One time I went there was about 2 o'clock in the morning with some of my teammates, and I mean, there was a wedding party there. The bride still had her gown on. All the groomsmen in their tuxedos. The motorcycle gang there. A little bit of everything.
Goldie strikes out. So you went at 2 in the morning. That's interesting.
Well, we were told that was the best time to go.
Hey fans, stay cool this 4th of July inside air-conditioned Chase Field. The D-backs take on the Padres. And relax as the roof opens up for a post-game fireworks spectacular, courtesy of Gila River Casinos. It's truly the best fireworks show in town. Plus, you get a baseball game, air conditioning the whole thing. dbacks.com. All your tickets there. All your details. Here's Wellington Castillo, who's been aboard 3 times. A walk, a single, and a double. He's got an RBI. He scored a run. Why is 2 a.m. the best time to go down there?
Well, freaks come out at night.
The sights and sounds.
Yeah.
Huh? Well, the wife and I did that on our last trip. We went to one, and then we walked across the street and went to the other, because they're right there.
Did you have a preference, or?
I did, but I forget which one it was. It's Pat and Gino's, right?
Right. Yeah.
The first one. Yeah, I think it's Pat's.
That's the one I like.
See, if I went there, I knew I would know which one it was. I'm pretty sure it's Pat's.
Of course, we have Tony Luke's at the ballpark.
But see, that's the thing. Tony Luke's under the radar is better than both of them, in my own humble opinion. They got a Tony Luke's out in center field in that ballpark. You and I will be camped out there. And of course, the famous stop in the ballpark there, Citizens Bank, the Chicken and Donuts stand.
Chicken and Donuts, that's right.
That's a favorite along the way. 3-1 to Wellington Castillo. This is lifted in the air. Deep left field, but Christian Yelich has room. And Dustin McGowan works a 1-2-3 innings. 7th inning on the way. It's 6-0 Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks as we start the 7th inning. Hey fans, this month the greatest golfers in the world converge on historic Oakland Country Club. It's the 116th U.S. Open Championship. Live coverage begins Thursday, June 16th on FS1 and continues through the final round on Sunday the 19th on Fox. Or you can watch the entire U.S. Open live on Fox Sports Go. I'm told there is not a drop of water on that entire golf course.
Apparently they don't need it. Between all the traps and the rough, it's enough of a challenge. Four right, look out.
Robbie Ray, he's been right all day so far, ready to start the 7th inning at only 87 pitches for Robbie, and Martin Prado will lead it off. Prado was struck out in single.
How about this for Robbie Ray? Pitches by inning, 14 in the first, 14 in the second, 13 in the third, only 8 in the 4th inning, 15 in the 5th, and then in the 6th inning he threw 23. 13 of those to Adeiny Echeverria. 15% of the pitches in the game went to one batter.
And then Real Muto wore him down too before Robbie finally struck him out to win the 6th. But so far, a 3-hit shutout. It's the best we've seen Robbie since his start against the Yankees here last month.
You never know what the key is going to be. We talked about it earlier with Brandon Drury and the outfield situation, and trying to get everybody enough playing time, and sometimes all the motivation you need is to call up somebody that plays your position.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, and for Robbie Ray, you know, Zach Godley comes up and throws an outstanding ball game yesterday. There was some question about how the rotation was going to line up moving forward. Robbie probably felt he was on the bubble and has gone out and thrown his best start of the year today.
Rhino grounds out to Ahmed. Yeah, you've got Archie Bradley, who's looked very good and has taken several steps forward this year. Zach looked tremendous last night. You've got Shelby Miller, who was dominant for Class A Visalia in his rehab start, just about ready to come back soon at some point. So it's getting a little crowded in that rotation.
And that's what every coach and manager hopes that his players will do. That's the way you hope they will respond to the possibility that things might change. You don't want to go back to the minor leagues. You don't want to go on the disabled list. Whatever the case may be, you want to stay out there and contribute to your team's wins.
I think he can really put a capper on this one, Bob, if he can finish off the 7th inning in some kind of representative fashion. The bullpen is still quiet for the Diamondbacks, so if Robbie steps up here with 7 scoreless, that's a huge leap forward for him. They're just chilling out there. 2-0 to Christian Yelich, who's 0 for 2. This is a very disciplined hitter. He does not chase the low pitch. He won't swing if you try and jam him inside or up and in. Very difficult to get a fastball by him that he likes. Missed away, 3-0.
And you mentioned his splits earlier in the ball game. Hits lefties extremely well, and I think part of that is obviously he's a really gifted athlete with great hand-eye coordination, but when he got called up to the major leagues in July of 2013, he was an everyday player. They didn't ease him in and sit him against some tough left-handers. They just threw him to the wolves, said, go get him, kid, and he hit against everybody and continues to hit against everybody.
First walk of the ball game for Robbie, now at 95 pitches, 63 strikes. And he'll work to Marcell Ozuna.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Yeah, they knew what they had in Miami with Christian Yelich. They bought out his arbitration and some free agent years. He's already got a long-term deal. 7 years, just under $50 million. A big part of their future. Christian Yelich, just 24 years old. He's a one-out base runner for Marcell Ozuna. Very high and foul. Whoa. This guy is really talented too. And he has been, Marcell Ozuna, feasting on left-hand pitching this year. 426 versus lefties, including 5 home runs. Coming inside here. And he missed. 1-1. Barry Bonds being given tremendous credit for turning Ozuna around after he had a miserable season last year. There's a pop up behind the first base bag. Drifting out to shallow right is Gene Segura, and that's the second out. Well, Robbie Ray gets to face Giancarlo one more time. There's that 23 pitch 6 that Bob was talking about. Boy, if it weren't for that, you might consider letting him go one more.
Sure.
Bullpen will start to get busy for the Diamondbacks. Stanton has popped up, struck out 0 for 2. Pitch number 100 misses away. 100 pitches, 65 strikes. Sanderson Ford bullpen. Randall Delgado, the right-hander, and Zach Curtis, the lefty. Leaking toward the seats and out of play. 2-1 on Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton in his last 97 at bats has struck out 47 times. That's hard to fathom. He's down to 193 on the year. Right hand side of the infield wide open. Segura on the shortstop side of second. And he bounces it over the mound right to Gene Segura. The high hopper, and Robbie Ray. Only 2 past the minimum through 7 innings. And we'll keep it right here at Chase Field on this Diamondback Sanderson Ford Baseball Sunday as we pause to honor America.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now ask that you please rise and sing along as we pay tribute to our great nation with the singing of God Bless America.
and our moves.
So our moves.
Back at Chase Field. Hey, D-backs fans, make sure you tune in on Tuesday for the Fox Sports Arizona Teal Tuesday ticket offer. That will be available only during the Diamondbacks and Dodgers broadcast. This is a one-night-only ticket special. You get great deals. It starts at 6, Diamondbacks live pregame show. It's the Fox Sports Arizona Teal Tuesday ticket offer. Great deals on tickets, good only during the broadcast Tuesday night as Peralta flies out to lead off the 7th against Dustin McGowan, who's out there for his second inning of work. Peter O'Brien launched one 424 feet, a 3-run homer in the first. He's 1 for 3. He's been up there aggressively swinging. Checks his swing that time, but takes a strike. Peter just red hot when he was called up from Reno. His last 10 games with the Aces, he'd hit 5 homers and had 21 RBIs.
How'd you hold that one? Oh, way over in the left-handed batter's box and about 5 feet short of home plate that time.
Well, we saw Peter this spring launch balls over light towers, over grass berms out there in different ballparks, over scoreboards. Hit one over the batter's eye at Maryvale in a game against the Brewers in dead center field. Tremendous power when he connects. This is one from the spring earlier this year. 270 this spring, 5 homers. And most of them went like that onto the concourse. He strikes out. 3rd strikeout for McGowan, who has set down all 5 he's faced.
Shortstop, Nick Ahmed.
Cole Gillespie will take over at first base for the Marlins, and Chris Johnson will move over to 3rd, replacing Martin Prado. 0-2 on Nick Ahmed, who singled in the first. Robbie Ray out there in the on-deck circle, BB. I think they may want to just have this start go as long as Robbie can possibly go to build his confidence. So far for Robbie Ray, 7 scoreless innings. He's given up only 3 hits, and the bullpen is quiet. Crickets down there.
Delgado and Curtis have both shut it down for the time being.
To 3rd, Chris Johnson over there. High throw. Gillespie keeps his foot on the bag, and that's the end of the inning. Diamondbacks lead the Marlins 6-0, 8th inning coming up. Start the 8th inning, working on a 3-hit shutout and holding a 6-0 lead. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. The boys in blue, boo, will be in here tomorrow for the first of 3. Former D-back Mike Bolsinger against former Dodger Zach Greinke. And then Archie Bradley on the mound Tuesday night against Kenta Maeda. Wednesday, an afternoon getaway day game. Diamondback Live pregame show at noon. 12:40 first pitch for a battle of left-handers. Patrick Corbin and Clayton Kershaw. So here we go with Robbie Ray out there to start the 8th. His career high in terms of going deep into a ball game is 7 2/3 innings. That was July 7th last year at Texas. And he's worked 7 scoreless so far. Chris Johnson, who moved from first base to third, leads it off for the Marlins. He has one of their 3 hits, a single in the 5th. Bullpen will get busy again for the Diamondbacks. Delgado and Curtis are throwing up once again. Or up and throwing.
Up and throwing.
Jerry Coleman, the late great Colonel. 2-1. All right, now Robbie Ray at 105 pitches. His high for the year this season is 112. That was at Colorado May 11th. And in that game, when he threw 112 pitches, he went only 4 2/3. His high for this season is 7 innings. That was his win over the Yankees here May 16th.
And so far the Marlins haven't had a base runner reach second base against Robbie Ray and the D-backs.
He's given up just 3 hits, all singles, walked 1 and struck out 4. Two and 2 to Chris Johnson. Here we go again with a 2-strike foul balls. Just inside, a full count, 3 and 2.
Another possible reason to extend Robbie Ray here. I haven't heard otherwise, but with the off day on Thursday, all the starters will get an extra day of rest this time through the rotation. So maybe Chip and Mike Butcher want to see what Robbie can do here late in the ball game.
He blew it by Johnson. 94-mile-an-hour fastball. That's his 5th strikeout.
Hey fans, the Arizona Diamondbacks and Geico are proud to offer military and first responders ticket discounts all season long, including half off on Sundays. For more information and to get tickets, visit dbacks.com/military. D-backs will put the shift on for the left-hand hitting Derek Dietrich, who is 0 for 2, couple of ground ball outs. There's Brandon Drury, the 3rd baseman, right in front of second base umpire Ted Barrett. There's strike 1. Next pitch will be number 112 for Robbie Ray. That'll match a season high. 0-2. Boy, and he is just pumping fastball after fastball in there. He's thrown 1 slider to the last 5 hitters. Just all heaters.
He has maintained that consistent velocity throughout the ball game. What gets frustrating about Robbie, Bob, because we've known, and all the coaches certainly tell us, that this is in him. He can do this much more often than not. He's got that type of stuff. Just does get a piece to stay alive.
coaches and broadcasters and fans are never pleased. This is not enough. You got to do it again, and that's what you really like to see from Robbie. Back up this great outing today with another one next time out, and then get on a good roll.
Another 2-strike foul. 1:15 now. Diamondback Live post-game show follows our ball game. Brandon Webb, Jody Jackson standing by. Looking for that put-away pitch. Got him. 6 strikeouts for Robbie. 2 down. He's matched his career high. 7 2/3.
Dietrich in full swing mode up there, chases a really bad pitch up above the shoulders out of the zone.
That's going to be it. Here comes Chip Hale. Well, Robbie Ray has pitched an absolute gem. 7 2/3 scoreless innings, and the ovation from the Diamondback faithful as he leaves the ball game. Here this afternoon from Robbie Ray. 7 2/3 scoreless innings, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. He gave up only 3 hits, and now he'll turn it over to the right-hander Randall Delgado, who's on to face Miguel Rojas with 2 outs in the 8th inning in a 6-0 Diamondback ball game. There's a strike, 0-1.
And with the exception of a few at bats there late in the ball game, Robbie Ray did exactly what he had to do today. Cut down on those 2-strike foul balls, get contact, let his defense work behind him. An outstanding performance by Robbie today.
We saw the numbers on Randall Delgado, our Arizona Federal Credit Union pitching change. He worked twice in the Tampa Bay series, including Wednesday when he worked 1 scoreless inning with a walk and a strikeout. Randall has given up just 1 run in his last 13 1/3. He's ahead of Rojas 0-2. Squib shot to third. Drury's there. And we'll head to the bottom of the 8th inning at Chase Field. The Diamondbacks lead the Marlins 6-0.
8th. Jody Jackson and Brandon Webb, as we will be here for CenturyLink postgame show. D-backs live, of course, and Robbie Ray, just a brilliant outing today. Brandon, what are some of the things you're going to highlight during the postgame on why he was so effective?
Well, he was able to throw strikes. We're just going to walk through his whole game, basically, and, you know, show what he did to get these hitters out, keep himself in the game. Late in the game, longest he's thrown, you know, all year. So he did a great job, and just go over his outing.
Had that great outing against the Yankees, but this one was better. We'll also hear from Chip Hale, the manager, after the game, and Peter O'Brien, who provided the big 3-run homer. Guys?
Thank you, Jody. Phil Gosselin will hit for Randall Delgado to lead off the Arizona 8th inning against Dustin McGowan, who's out there for his 3rd inning of work. So far for McGowan, 6 up, 6 down. And Phil in there at 253 with a home run. It's been tough to get him some consistent at bats lately. He's 5 for his last 26 at the plate, but that dates all the way back to May 12th. So that's about a month where he's had only, well, less than 30 at bats. Jody mentioned Peter O'Brien's 3-run homer, 424-foot home run in the 1st inning. Part of a 4-run D-backs first. And there was the old adage, of course, credited to Earl Weaver. That's how you win: pitching, defense, and 3-run homers.
3-run homers.
We've seen all 3 of those here today from the Diamondbacks. A couple of big double plays turned behind Robbie Ray, both to end innings. And Robbie 7 2/3 scoreless. Two and 2 on Phil Gosselin. Michael Bourne on deck. Gene Segura in the hole. Phil Gosselin, 31 plate appearances as a pinch hitter this year. He's batting .321.
Done a really nice job off the bench. One of the toughest jobs in the game. Being a part-time player, pinch hit specialist.
The at-bats are always really good, too. Just like this one. Battles, works at full. Puts that one toward the right field corner, but it's leaking foul.
I was going to say it doesn't really concern the Diamondbacks at this point, but for the Marlins, Dustin McGowan coming in here and eating up these innings the way he has in relief of Adam Conley, that really saved the Marlins bullpen. They don't have an off day. They go back home and immediately play the Padres a 3-game series before they have their next off day on Thursday.
And McGowan wears him down. That's his 4th strikeout.
Hey fans, a D-backs home run today means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink. Thank you very much, Peter O'Brien.
His 1st of the year, his 2nd career big league homer. Peter today 1 for 4 with that home run. Here's Michael Bourne, who singled his last time up, 1 for 3. Rockies are leading at Coors Field over the Padres 2-1, 8th inning. Dodgers at Giants later tonight. Dodgers in here tomorrow night for the first of 3. Get your tickets at dbacks.com to see Zach Greinke take on battling Mike Bolsinger. 3 great pitching matchups in that series. Archie Bradley, Kenta Maeda Tuesday night. Wednesday afternoon, Corbin and Kershaw. 1 and 2 on Bourne. So come on by the Chase Field box office. Get online, dbacks.com/tickets. Two and 2.
We touched on Michael Bourne and his contributions to the Diamondbacks since coming on board, and this is another example here of professional at bats. May not always end up with a base hit or getting on base, but he's going to make you work to get him out.
Broken bat. Dietrich at second has to hurry. 2 down.
And over the course of a ball game, if you've got enough guys in your lineup that give you those professional at bats and see 5 or 6 or 7 or more pitches per at bat, that's ultimately going to pay dividends for the other guys in the order.
Well, McGowan has done an excellent job. He's retired all 8 Diamondbacks he has faced, and now here's Gene Segura with 2 outs in the 8th inning. Segura a pair of singles. He scored twice. .40 pitches now for Dustin McGowan. 25 strikes. Yeah, but managers love efforts like this.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a small positive to take out of what's been otherwise a very miserable day for the Marlins, but as I mentioned, it saves the rest of that bullpen.
Little things like that over the course of 162. Here's the skipper, Don Mattingly. Pitching coach, Juan Nieves.
I mean, sometimes you send a guy out there and you just throw him to the wolves. Go get him. We don't care if you give up 10 runs. We're not going to use any more pitchers today, so do the best you can. McGowan has done an outstanding job for Don Mattingly today.
Looks like Jake Barrett might get the 9th inning. He's warming up for the Diamondbacks down at the bullpen. Looks ready to go. 3-1 on Gene Segura. Good to have some momentum too going into a Dodger series here. That starts tomorrow night. Here we go. I learned my lesson. That one went all the way back down behind the backstop. On the air at 6 o'clock tomorrow, Diamondback Live pregame show. First pitch at 6:40. Zach Greinke takes on his former team. That's going to be a fun night. A whole lot of fun the way Zach has pitched lately. He's won 5 straight starts. A 2-out walk. And the D-backs have their first base runner against McGowan. Brings up Brandon Drury.
Third baseman.
Zach Greinke starting against his old team. That's one of those ones where he thinks that I think that he thinks that I think that he's going to throw a changeup here, but I'm going to foil that. You think you know a guy. Of course, we've seen enough of Zach Greinke and his teammates in L.A. playing behind him the last few years. They know that he's one of the most unpredictable pitchers in the game. He might throw any pitch in any count to any hitter.
Drury blasted off the glove of Dietrich, and it rolls into center. Segura will jog into third, and Brandon has himself a single. Well, that was a rocket right at the Marlins second baseman.
Good to see Brandon finally barrel one up. Pitcher out away from him. He stayed right on it. Hit so hard Dietrich could not make the play.
A chance for Goldie. 2 on and 2 out.
Boy, hopefully that's the bat that'll get Brandon Drury going again. Sometimes it's just one swing when you square the ball up and hit a line drive somewhere and get a positive result from it.
Goldie a double, a single. He's got an RBI. He scored twice. And he's now hit safely in 7 straight. Don Mattingly's had to get his bullpen busy again down there. Nick Whitgren, the right-hander, swing and a miss, 1-1. We saw Whitgren pitch an inning last night. He worked the 8th inning, struck out all 3 he faced. Got Lamb, Goldie, and Peralta. McGowan about to throw his 50th pitch on in relief. One and 2. Marlins in the 9th will have the pitcher spot leading off. Then Real Muto. And Gillespie 9-1-2.
A good chance to see Ichiro take that at bat to lead off the inning.
2-2. Ichiro had a hit last night as a pinch hitter. And he is now only 26 shy of 3,004 behind Pete Rose's career total of 4,256 hits. If you combine both Ichiro's Central League stats and his Major League stats. Chris Johnson at third. And that'll end the inning. We'll go to the ninth. Diamondbacks with a 6-0 lead on the Marlins. Diamondbacks lead the Marlins 6-0 as we start the ninth. Robbie Ray just outstanding today. 7 2/3 scoreless innings. He gave up only 3 hits. Peter O'Brien a 3-run homer and Goldie a couple of hits, a double and an RBI. And on for the Diamondbacks to work the ninth inning. It's Jake Barrett, 25 appearances, a 2.28 ERA. He's put up his strikeout numbers, more strikeouts in fact than hits allowed or innings pitched, but he's had some issues lately, Bob, with inherited runners, so it'll be interesting to see here how he does starting off an inning.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks as a whole, the bullpen has had some problems with inherited runners, but Jake Barrett coming in to start the inning clean right here. A 5-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio on the season.
And indeed, as Bob predicted, Ichiro will hit for the pitcher to lead off the Miami ninth. 336, 26 hits shy of 3,000 for his major league career. He is only 4 behind Pete Rose if you combine Ichiro's Japanese league totals with his major league totals. He singled as a pinch hitter last night. 31st on baseball's career hits list. More hits than Frank Robinson, Barry Bonds as hitting coach, Rogers Hornsby. He's right now coming up on Hall of Famer Sam Rice, who was a longtime Washington Senator. And after that, the next man on the list is the great Roberto Clemente with exactly 3,000.
Ichiro always wears that little half turtleneck. Even when he wears short sleeves under his uniform, he has that turtleneck undershirt. Chipper Jones used to do the same thing. Chipper Jones.
This guy's a pleasure to watch. What a player. He works a leadoff walk. You know, pitchers all over the game have given up trying to figure out how to pitch to this guy, because if you pitch him down and away, he slaps it to left center, piece of cake. If you try and jam him, he chops it into the ground and beats it out. He can still run. Generally, the best you can hope for is try to mix it up and hope he hits it up in the air someplace.
High fastballs and hope he'll hit it in the air to center or left field. He's got some pull power, surprising pull power, but going the opposite way in the air is probably not the best thing for Ichiro, but he doesn't chase a lot of bad pitches.
JT Realmuto, the leadoff man, 0 for 3, struck out twice. Goldie will play behind the runner at first, and Jake Barrett having problems throwing strikes. 6 pitches, 5 balls so far.
Talk about back in the day when Ichiro was an everyday player out in right field. I used to just love to watch him between pitches. I never saw a player that was more perpetually prepared for the ball to come to him. He'd stretch his arm, he'd stretch his legs. He was always staying loose and studying the situation. If the ball's hit to me, where am I going to throw it? And that's probably the reason why he's got a mantle full of gold gloves at home.
Almost clipped Barrett. Segura, Ahmed, Goldie. There's your double play. That one came right back at Jake, and fortunately it went by him.
Sometimes the best thing you can do as a pitcher is get out of the way. That one hit right to Gene Segura, turns it into an easy 4-6-3 double play. Had Barrett deflected that ball, who knows what might have happened.
So 1 out to go, and it's the former Diamondback Cole Gillespie, hitting .250 this year. Gillespie flied out as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning last night. Diamondback Live post-game show standing by. Brandon Webb alongside Jody Jackson. We are back with you tomorrow for the first of 3 against the Dodgers. That should be a fun series. Get your tickets at dbacks.com. Tomorrow night, Zach Greinke faces his former team from LA. And former D-back Mike Bolsinger's on the mound.
Diamondbacks hitters need to prepare to hit a curveball. We know that Mike Bolsinger's out pitch and his get ahead pitch.
Arkansas Razorback. And Archie Bradley goes Tuesday. Patrick Corbin gets the day game Wednesday against Clayton Kershaw. Dodgers will play the late game tonight at San Francisco. So that helps as well. They'll get in here late tonight. Hopefully really late.
Real late.
Giants beat them in extra innings the other day on a Buster Posey walk-off single. Barrett behind 3-1. Ground ball gets into the glove of Segura. What a way to finish off a 6-0 Diamondbacks shutout win. And they take the series. They take 2 of 3 from Miami. That's the 5th shutout by the Diamondbacks and their 3rd in the last 10 days.
Very good to see him put together another outstanding ball game today after last night's game. Robbie Ray was tremendous. Peter O'Brien, welcome back to the big leagues with that long 3-run homer. Good all-around effort today. Great defense by the Diamondbacks.
Diamondback Live post-game show set to go. Brandon Webb standing by with Jody Jackson. Jody.
All right, thanks so much, guys. Plenty to break down here on the show. We'll hear from the manager, Chip Hale. As always, we get reactions from inside the clubhouse, J.R. Cardenas down on the field. But Brandon Webb, as we get set for this postgame show, Robbie Ray, we know he uses that fastball predominantly, but he really relied on it today, didn't he?
Yeah, he was absolutely incredible today. Able to work through the Marlins lineup, basically with 1 pitch, his fastball today, got him through his longest outing of the year.
And the Diamondbacks come away with a series win, just their 2nd here at home this season. Could it be the role that we've been waiting for these D-backs to get on, possibly, as they win the series here? A 6-0 victory for the D-backs today. We've got the post-game show coming up as Robbie Ray was simply brilliant. Peter O'Brien, you heard about the power today. You saw it, a 3-run home run in that 1st inning. And we've got the reaction coming your way right after the break. It's D-backs Live, and it's next.